Thinking of hosting a wedding in the Dominican Republic? In this video, I'm going to go over Destination Wedding Planning 101 for the Dominican Republic. This is Jack with Vacationies. Let's talk about planning a wedding in the DR or the Dominican Republic. First of all, where is it? It's in the Caribbean. So if you look at it, you'll see that on one side of this island is the Dominican Republic, and on the other side of the island is Haiti. So now let's talk about flights. How do you get there? All the major airlines have flights into the DR, the Dominican Republic. But here's what you have to look at. There are 3 or 4 main airports that you can fly into. So let's look at where the resorts are. So most of the resorts, you would fly into the Punta Cana, PUJ is the airport code, airport. That's where most of the resorts, the newer resorts are. If you look in the old days, there was an area called Puerto Plata. We don't see a lot of weddings for people in the US there any longer. I've seen clients from Canada and the UK and Europe that are interested in there. Most of the resorts there are older resorts. It was kind of the first area for tourism. Another area is La Romana. There are resorts in that area. But if you are hosting a wedding in La Romana, you can fly into Punta Cana, there's a highway, and you can be in La Romana in 45 minutes to an hour. The last place you can fly into is the main capital, or the city, which is Santo Domingo. We don't typically see weddings. It is a great colonial city, interesting to visit, not on the beach, but definitely has a vibe of being in Madrid or a city in Spain or Colombia. So the key thing I think you want to look at with you and your guests is the majority of people will fly into Punta Cana. Can you get flights from where you and your guests live into Punta Cana? I will tell you, if you're West Coast, if you're Seattle, Portland, even LA, it may be tough to get a nonstop flight, or it may take you a whole day with a connection through Dallas, Phoenix, wherever, Chicago, to get there. I think you should take that into account when you think about it. So again, that's getting there and the airports that you have to fly into. Now, when you look at Dominican Republic, a thing you have to know about is you need a passport. Make sure you have a passport. Your guests have passports. You can't get in with a driver's license or a copy of your birth certificate. You definitely need a valid passport to get into the Dominican Republic. Now, when you look at the resorts, you have a lot of options and areas. Again, as I stated before, Punta Cana is the main area. Now, that's where the airport is. But if you go up 45 minutes from Punta Cana, there's hotels that just dot the beach. And many of them are amazing. The beaches in Punta Cana are amazing. So that's really nice, is that you have a whole coast of beautiful white sand beaches with turquoise waters, some with waves, some that are flat. Just have a lot of diversity. There's a new area that is very close to the airport in Punta Cana called Cap Cana. And that is a hot area. It's the high-end area. There are several hotels there. You can be from your plane to a hotel in Cap Cana within 15 minutes. It's right there. So it's an area that we really like for our clients. Again, there's some great hotels. They tend to be some of the better hotels, but a great area for weddings there. When you look at hotels, you have many to choose from. There's got to be at least 100 hotels on the island in Punta Cana area. You can do family friendly. You can do boutique family friendly. You can do medium size, 500 rooms. You can do these 3,000 room monster hotels. Not something I suggest, but there are some people that like these big hotels. You have adults only hotels. You also have kind of adults only that are kind of couples only. You have adults only that are kind of everybody. And you also have adults only that are kind of more active vibe party fun. So you have a lot of options to choose to for your guests, yourself, for your destination wedding in Punta Cana. When you're looking to do a wedding in Punta Cana, again, you have a lot of options. Your first option is you can do a legal wedding. Now, you do have to be there a couple days earlier than you would expect because there is paperwork that has to be done. With that, the primary language in the DR, Dominican Republic, is Spanish. So you will need to work with the wedding team at the resort for filling out the paperwork, which could have to be done typically 2 weeks prior to your arrival. You'll start that, and then you'll end up having an expense for translation services for everything back in the US. so that you can do both a legal wedding and a symbolic wedding. If you want to do legal or symbolic, you can do Catholic. There are resorts that have approved Catholic venues. There are Catholic churches. You can do it offsite. Also, Punta Cana is LGBTQ same-sex friendly for weddings. So you have a lot of options to get married at. You have a lot of hotels that have great places, venues. So you have beach venues. You do not really have cliff venues because most of the area in Punta Cana is pretty flat. You do have hotels with rooftop venues. You have pool decks. You have some gazebos. So again, I think when you look at the hotels, you'll definitely be able to find locations you like for your welcome party, your ceremony, your reception, your cocktails, whatever it is, and you don't have to have your event at the same place at every place at the hotel. A couple other reasons I think that the DR, specifically Punta Cana, is great. One is gambling. If you want to gamble, there are several casinos that are fairly large that have kind of a Vegas vibe. And I know that's something we get asked a lot of times for Mexico is, are there casinos? There are, but they're not really big. As an example, the Hard Rock has a casino, and you really feel like when you're there, you're at Vegas. Golf courses. There are golf courses all over the place. So if you want to play golf during your destination wedding or your guests during their stay or wedding, there's golf courses to look for. The beaches. Consistently beautiful beaches. I know people always ask about Mexico and the beach exchange in Riviera Maya, Cancun, all over the place. They're all just so different and diverse. Where the nice thing is in Punta Cana, again, they're all pretty much beautiful, whether it's flat like in Cap Cana, or if you go up to an area called Uvar Alto, they have some waves, or Barro, there are waves. But I think in the DR, you just have great options. Now, what I would say is, people always ask me about food. I will say this, and I've said this for years, the food in the DR is okay. If you end up at a, let's call it a Dreams Resort, and there's a Dreams Resort in Mexico, my experience has been that the quality of food is better in Mexico than it is in the DR. I don't know why. They do have options, but I would say that if you're a foodie, I would say you're really going to have to work hard with your travel professional to find the right resort for you so you don't end up at a resort that doesn't meet your foodie criteria. The other thing is that there are clubs, so if you want to party, there's a lot of places to party, whether it's in a hotel or there are venues outside of the hotel that are nightclubs that you can definitely have a great time. In terms of tour excursions, there's some stuff to do, but again, I think one of my favorite things is the zip lining is fun, and also if you're into history, to go to Santo Domingo, but it's a 3-hour ride, so we don't see a lot of people asking about that. So hopefully this information is helpful for Destination Planning 101 in the Dominican Republic, and if you have any other questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. I'll try to respond. Feel free to email directly. But planning a destination wedding in the Dominican Republic, have a great destination wedding in the Dominican Republic. You have a lot of options, and talk to you soon.